Hello, my name is Mark Johnson from our company of Soluna, and we are the proud sponsors of this year's New Mexico Solar Fiesta, and we'd like to give special thanks to the New Mexico Solar Energy Association for letting us be sponsors. Today we're going to talk a little bit about global warming, the legacy we're leaving our kids and grandkids, a little bit about the war on solar that's being waged by utility companies and corporations and special interest groups, and a little bit about solar lease programs. And like I said, the title of our presentation is Global War on Solar, and we're going to explore those issues. If we break down the facts on solar, carbon dioxide emissions are still continuing to rise. Utilities, investors, and governments are working to stop the growth of clean energy in some sectors. Renewable energy will forever change the energy consumption landscape in the United States and around the world. And we're going to talk about what our options are for clean energy success. Why is green important? In 2013, we saw the largest spike in carbon dioxide levels in our atmosphere in our recorded history, and at least the highest carbon dioxide levels in the last 800,000 to 15 million years. Not only did 2013 see a large increase, but in April of 2014, we hit another milestone. And that lasted for May and June also, and that was carbon dioxide levels rose above 400 parts per million. Some NASA scientists were interviewed on that. One guy said that the 400 parts per million is like a psychological tripwire that we should pay attention to. Another scientist said it's a scary scorecard, that it's climate change 400, humanity 0. And another scientist says it's like skiing down a double black diamond and really not knowing how to ski. Carbon dioxide emissions, CO2 emissions from energy supply sector are expected to double or even triple by 2050 unless energy intensity improvements can be significantly accelerated beyond the historical development. And the main contributors to carbon dioxide are electricity generation. And so we need to work on the cost-effective mitigations of lowering carbon dioxide strategies, and that's with renewable energy. And we all know climate change is imminent. 80% of all emissions affecting our climate are derived from burning of fossil fuels. Greenhouse gas emissions need to be cut 40 to 70% by mid-century for humanity to face better than 50-50 odds of dodging the worst effects of global warming. And no nation is immune from the effects of global warming. This August was the hottest August ever recorded on record. In Miami now, when at high tide, it floods because of during a storm because of the rising ocean levels. We're already feeling that in some coastal regions. And we don't want to condemn our children and their children to something that is impossible to change in the future. We need to commit to change while we still can. We can't let short-term fossil fuel interests dominate our kind of a doomed destiny. So the question is, will we commit to change? I'm going to read a quote here from David Crane. He is the CEO of NRG Energy. NRG has multiple power plants, maybe 60. Nuclear plants, gas-fired, coal-fired plants. And David Crane gets it about solar. They have a huge solar portfolio also on solar farms. And he said that the day is coming when our children sit us down in our old age. They'll look us straight in the eye with an acute sense of betrayal and disappointment in their eyes. And they'll whisper to us, "You knew and you didn't do anything about it." And they'll ask why. There is an attack on solar across the United States, and mostly in state legislatures right now. And I'm going to play you a 6-minute video here from MSNBC that talks about Oklahoma votes to, to tax solar power. Oklahoma isn't the only state to attack renewable energy sectors. Arizona has imposed a kind of a tax or a fee on people that have solar at their houses. Utah and Wisconsin the same. Have all imposed or trying to impose new taxes on renewable energy. We have a it's sort of an unacceptable precedent. And it's kind of funny that we have an ally in the Tea Party, where environmentalists and Tea Party kind of go together on this issue. And this is from Georgia. They had state legislature was voting to reduce the ability of private consumers to install solar on their own houses, or putting blocks in the way, like reducing net metering and imposing new charges for electricity generating customers meeting solar. In Georgia, they were talking about increasing the fixed charges by 75%. So if you had a $10 service charge, they wanted to add $7.50 on that if you had solar on your house. Proponents of the change argue that under the current utility rates, renewable energy consumers don't pay their fair share of grid operating costs. The Tea Party joined the environmentalists because they're all about choice. One of the Tea Party guys said it's very clear that they, the utility companies, are not looking out for the best interests of their customers. They're looking out for the best interest of their stockholders. So solar, it's very important. It's all about choice, and utility companies really don't like any kind of competition with having a monopoly on electrical consumers. This is kind of a funny slide here. It shows the Koch brothers are wanted for climate crimes. They are the guys that from ALEC, the American Legislative Education Council, and they're funded and comprised of corporations, fossil fuel interest groups, and ALEC is the Koch brothers. There's a campaign against clean energy, claiming customers who own solar panels are free riders on the system. Last year, ALEC pushed more than 70 bills in 37 states that would have impeded clean energy growth. While most of their efforts have not succeeded, they're finding success at state levels, which not only include stopping clean energy, but also they are targeting efforts to impose EPA coal to regulations, or lower the regulations as related to public health. They're promoting the Keystone XL pipeline and working toward friendlier fracking rules. I'd like to say just a little bit more about solar leases here too. I mentioned that at the beginning of the program. And our company really does not recommend solar leases. And the reason being is that you kind of, you need to read the fine print. Lease payments increase annually if you sign up for a solar, usually about 3% for 15 years. And if you don't have stellar credit when you sign up for a lease, you'll get locked into paying well over an advertised price for a lease. You have to consider that you never really own the solar panels on the roof of your house. After your leasing period's up, you'll have to either purchase the panels from the leasing company or you'll have to return them. And then you're not eligible for any of the tax credits. None of the state and federal the state and federal tax credits will be forfeited to the forfeited by the homeowner, and the leasing company will take advantage of these and reap benefits. You know, when you introduce a third party into something, it makes the endeavor more complicated. Someone, meaning the solar lease companies, are making a lot of money on on your return on investment. Your home value can drop if you have solar panels on your roof, believe it or not, if you want to sell. Most leases last 15 or 20 years. If you decide to sell your home during that time, it can create problems. Prospective buyers will have to assume responsibility for paying for that solar lease. They might, prospective buyer may not want those solar panels on the roof. A prospective buyer may want to install their own solar panels so that they own the system rather than getting roped into a lease that they may not want. And if you also have to remember about a lease usually has an escalator in it. So every year you're going to be paying 3% more or so for your lease, and that's to protect the leasing company's profits. A well-priced solar system that you own, and if you factor in solar tax credits, will return to you 6 to 10% a year on your return on investment. So before people sign up for a lease, they have to think really hard about the risks involved in the lease, and thinking about getting bed with the solar leasing company, which is a third party that you're going to have to deal with for the life of that solar system, or at least 15 years. So our advice is, you should talk to a solar company. You could talk to us about options to leasing. We have some really good financing deals. Sometimes a leasing company will try and sell you a larger system that you don't really need because they take the renewable energy credits. They'll tell you that with this solar system you can run more of your heat on electricity and they'll try and sell you a larger system. And the benefits really just aren't there for you personally. What we suggest is that you should buy what you can afford and only buy as much that you're comfortable with. If you take out a home improvement loan or a green energy loan, you have to make sure it is one you can comfortably pay back. And you'll save money on your electric bill and be more independent. In New Mexico right now, there's a lot of decisions that are affecting solar at the moment. Legislation is happening now that affects the ability of solar to thrive in our state. Just last month, the Senate passed a bill supporting oil and natural gas development on federal land in New Mexico, and Senator Udall voted for it, and that's great because we do need jobs and in the oil and gas industry. But we, as a country now, we're energy independent. I mean, that's the first time that's happened in a long time. We're actually exporting energy on certain petroleum products, which hasn't happened since the 70s. PNM right now is also asking the PRC to approve a replacement power plan. So PNM is retiring a couple of coal polluters up near in the Four Corners area, and they're replacing that power with antiquated nuclear power from Palo Verde plant in Arizona. And the plant is 30 years old. It's expensive power, and they're also getting part of their replacement plan is more power from coal that they're buying from Arizona, and some renewables, some solar. Now that's just crazy from my point of view. They're retiring 2 coal plants, and then they're buying pollutive energy sources from Arizona, where they're not focusing more on renewables and really strong on solar as our neighbors. Arizona, California, Nevada, all have real proactive energy policy right now, and it's really discouraging that that PNM in New Mexico, with all of our sunshine, is moving backwards. So that's something that we need to be vigilant about. Also, I'm from Taos, and Kit Carson Electric is really proactive in the solar field. They're working to cut their ties with tri-state generation, where most of the electric cooperatives in New Mexico buy power from. Tri-state has roped many or all of the electric cooperatives into these long-term agreements that last until 2040 and 2050. And part of that agreement is an electric cooperative cannot produce more than 5% of its electric consumption from renewable energy. Now, if that's not a crazy plan, I have no idea what is. So And that's only to protect the shareholders in Tri-State. And Kit Carson Electric Cooperative has spearheaded a suit against them, and they're making progress in order to get out of these agreements. And it was actually a rate case, and they've saved people in Kit Carson Electric Cooperative an awful lot of money over the last 2 years that they've been able to reduce the rate case increase. So something to be vigilant about. It's not all bad news. There's some good news in solar, okay? Residential scale solar production has finally reached grid parity, okay, especially in other areas of the world like Germany, Spain, and Portugal, Australia, and of course here in the Southwest United States. According to a study by Deutsche Bank in 2013, 10 states are currently at grid parity, and that's Arizona, California, Connecticut, Hawaii, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, and Vermont. Now, even states back east, like New York and Vermont, are at equal price for producing energy from solar, even though that their prices, they have less sunshine, and they're paying 14 and 15 cents a kilowatt hour for electricity. And even in Texas, solar is less expensive than natural gas in places like Austin, Texas. And Austin's pretty proactive there. They actually have made solar the default energy of choice. So in the United States, in 2006, we only had 30,000 homes with grid-tied solar, and last year we were up to 4,000 homes. It's still not enough, but the projections for the future are maybe by 2020 we'll have maybe 4 million homes in the United States with solar, which is still a pittance, and it's really a slow process, and in order to really have any effect on global warming, things need to happen a lot faster than that. So let's see, the next slide here is, I wanted to show a little bit about local utility incentives that still exist. PNM, actually, their solar energy program is really pretty friendly, and we really like the people in PNM that run the program. Right now, if you do a solar system in the PNM territory, there's still a renewable energy credit of 3.5 cents a kilowatt hour. So PNM will pay you 3.5 cents for the electricity you consume, and then you also get to net out, actually 3.5 cents for the electricity you make, and you're able to net out your consumption. So I mean, you can have zero energy bill, and you can have credits on your bill, and negative numbers, which is really, it's pretty good. PNM still has a good deal going, but it's not going to last forever. Once they reach their renewable portfolio standard, I don't know that we'll have any more renewable energy credits anymore. So hopefully the PRC will do something about that. And then moving forward, grid parity and utilities that choose to embrace renewable energy and in New Mexico will continue to see further advancements in solar adoptions. The more solar we do on houses and such, the more people are following suit. Our business has grown 100% per year for the last 4 years. We just added on a new crew. We're expanding here to Albuquerque, and it's exciting. It's a lot of fun. It's a good feeling to see that meter turn backwards and see people get credit on their electric bills. So we can talk about, well, what you can do about reducing carbon emissions. I mean, you can think about electric cars. You can think about a renewable energy system. The price is right. A typical payback period for residential systems now is between 6 and 8 years, depending on if it's a rooftop installation, the size of the system, whether it's a ground mount. There's a lot that we can do. And we've already talked about a lot of this, but I'm going to repeat a few things. Solar energy is clean and reliable. Customers implement their own power producing or heat producing power plant at their own location. The benefits of integrating solar are, 30 years of free electricity, basically, after after the initial 6-year period. During that time, the customer benefits from producing their own renewable energy without depending on the utility company and agony of rising prices. It's a pretty liberating thing. The United States is one of the leading countries in producing carbon dioxide, which in elevated levels has been proven to be adversely affect the natural greenhouse that surrounds the Earth. So we need to get on the ball and get with other countries like in Europe and do our part in reducing carbon dioxide emissions. Solar is environmentally responsible action to combat issues like global warming that will adversely affect our lives and for generations to come. The solar tax credits are ending in a few years. So might get more bang for your buck right now, but I think in a few years electricity prices are going to be going up, and I'm totally confident that installing a solar system is going to be equal or less expensive than what people in a few years will be paying for electricity. And there's a really big return on investment for people that go solar. Customers can effectively reduce or eliminate their utility bills, and those savings can be invested in more important areas like kids' child's fund, vacations, other home improvement. There is a lot of evidence of solar success in the companies that sell solar panels and inverters, and lots of there's lots of stock prices that are going up. I mean, In-Phase Energy is an example. They're microinverters that finally started making money. We use Canadian solar panels. They have had like 6 quarters in a row of profits. Their solar stock is up 722% in the last 2 years. Canadian Solar is developing solar farms across the world. Global expansion, and they're distributing everywhere. One drawback that we have here in the United States is just a month ago, the Department of Commerce decided to strengthen tariffs against imported solar panels, which is something else that I can't believe. It's insanity. There was one solar company in the United States that filed suit with the Department of Commerce and said there were unfair trade practices. So the Department of Commerce sided with them, imposed big tariffs on solar panels, anywhere from 15% to 40%. So you can buy solar panels in Mexico, almost any other place on the planet, for less expensive than in the United States. It seems we're moving backwards, and the whole idea of that protest with the Department of Commerce was to save one solar company some jobs, maybe 400 jobs, while cutting into jobs in the solar industry. So that was a bad decision, but solar is still thriving in spite of that. We want to make the solar energy in our company green for all and available for all. And we've mentioned that the solar tax credits are there. Falling module prices is something else that's module prices from 1975 to 2013 have fallen 97%. I mean, that's incredible. And so solar is here to stay. It's viable. Businesses have really good incentives to go solar. They have even more tax credit advantages through there's REAP grants for rural businesses, and there is accelerated depreciation that you can't use as a residential customer, and it's worth another 15% in solar tax credits. It's just another slide that shows us the advantages of the solar tax credits. On this slide, we just have done sort of an anatomy of a cost of a solar system. So let's say you have a commercial roof mount system, and let's say it's for a small business, maybe only 4 kW. The whole system cost for something like that, if it's roof mount, is about $13,000. If you can take advantage of the solar tax credits, a REAP grant that the USDA is trying really hard to give away, and it's a lot of work, but we're trying to help them all the time find clients for money from the USDA for REAP grants. And taking advantage of the accelerated depreciation. So if you can monetize those solar tax credits, a $13,000 system ends up costing only $2,500. Saves $800 in energy costs per year. That's a 31% return on investment. And the system is paid for in 3 years. So I mean, these are real numbers, and this is a way to show businesses that it's amazing to me that more businesses that don't take advantage of the credits, especially businesses that are paying taxes. So we have some environmental benefits of what a rooftop array can do for you. It has some offset equivalents there of 4K system offsets 5,500 pounds of carbon annually, 300 gallons of gasoline. It's equal to planting 80 trees and to running 120 light bulbs for a year. So, at your power company, there's a few interconnection options. 95% of the work that we do is our net metering systems. But if you have a business and maybe you have a large rooftop, maybe you would work out a purchase power agreement with the utility where they recognize you as a true power producer and pay you X amount of dollars per kilowatt hour, which can be more lucrative for your bottom line than grid-tied net metering system. So since we're the sponsors of the Fiesta, we want to plug our company just a little bit and tell you a little bit about us. We're Soluna Solar. As I said earlier, we're a debt-free company. We've been operating in New Mexico since 1978. We're older than any solar company that's our competition now. We're licensed in general construction, mechanical, and electrical contractors. We have really strong supplier relationships, so we buy solar equipment in bulk as much as we can, and by doing that we're able to pass savings on to our customers. We have the best warranties and products in the industry. If you hire us, we guarantee the solar production, what it will make for the first 5 years of service. And we have a standard 10-year workmanship warranty, bumper to bumper. If anything goes wrong with the system, we take care of that. And we are also CES contractors, that's Cooperative Educative Services, and we have a contract so that we can work with public entities without going through a procurement process. Schools, state, counties can hire us directly because we've already been vetted. So that's a good plus from our company. And this slide here shows that we are the only approved CES solar renewable energy contractor in the state. That's pretty much it. I thank you for your attention. If we have any questions, I've got plenty of time to answer. And you can see this PowerPoint will be available at our website. You can see all the sources that we cited in our presentation here. And we'd like to thank you for coming to the New Mexico Solar Fiesta.